It's the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast with Alex Trataros, John Meleka, and Raisi on the beat. Let's go.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Knicks episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And with me is my buddy, my coach, my pal, the man with the plan, the one and only, John Meleka. But guys, before I ask John how he's doing, I need you all to help us. If you aren't subscribed to this podcast already, please make sure to subscribe to this podcast. We're on all audio platforms, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it, we are there. On top of that, we have a YouTube channel. All right, please make sure to go to the YouTube channel and make sure to subscribe. All right, Knicks, Jets, etc. And while you're there, we also got another podcast called Winning Picks Weekly. All right, that's John and video producer Greg. They go down the NFL slate. They're doing NFL playoffs right now, and they're about to do NBA. And I'll hop on some of those pods too and give you my takes on which teams, which games to bet on. Maybe do some props as well. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Also,
weekend, baby, Super Bowl coming up. You better have some props for us.
You already know. Also, guys, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. We'll slip up. Almost at a full slip up, John. But John, my man, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Coming here post blizzard from the weekend on the East Coast. It's the morning. We had some frigid temperatures. Nothing's more frigid than this Knicks team. We cannot win a single game, dude.
You can say that again.
We are desperate for W's. And, you and I are here this morning, honestly, just I feel like we're just trying to hold back. I'm trying to hold back the masses from attacking this team at every single thing. I feel like I'm like the last person on this front line of this Knicks squad. Especially after last week. Shout out to Jolito, Cedric, Sean, and the crew with the spaces, the KCDA spaces, the night after games. I had Jolito kind of go off on Randle the other day, so I think I've been labeled as the Randle apologist officially. So, it's interesting, man. There's rumors everywhere from our boy CP, from our man Macri. There's rumors from who I like to call the Magic Johnson of reporting, and Ian Begley, which we talked about last episode with Ari. I mean, Julius Randle could be traded on starting Wednesday. Like, we are on the ropes here, man. So I feel the calm before the storm. But how you doing, dude?
I'm doing well, man. As you said, it's post-blizzard. I was outside last night shoveling, salting, doing all that stuff. Had to run out today, get some coffee. At John and I, this is, as John said, this is the morning. It's 11 a.m. right now. We're getting our coffee in, getting some early recording in since we got NFL football today. We got championship weekend, as John talked about, so we got to be prepared to watch those games as well. But, man, you said it. The Knicks has been as cold as this blizzard that we had this past weekend. They've been down. They're struggling right now. We just saw them take 3 L's this week. Rough games, man. Just absolutely rough games. And the Bucks game, we were in it all the way. We were in it and we never had a lead, but we were in it. You know what I mean? We kept it close all the way until the end, into the fourth quarter. But just a rough outing, man. And I feel you on being a Randle apologist, because I keep saying, I don't hate the dude. I really wish it worked out here. But I think the way it's just unfolded, and I think I get what fans are, right? We get emotional. Yeah, we're fanatics. We get emotional about this team. We want this team to win. We haven't seen this team be good for a long period of time for the last 20 years. We had a short stint with Melo. We had a good season last season. And all we want is just to see consistency in this team perform. And
just 2 years in a row, Alex. I just needed 2 years in a row. We always get we've got the 1 year spark. We saw before with the Melo, like you mentioned, we had it last year, and we're just starving for that. Just do it twice, please.
Yeah.
Because other than that, it's fake. You know what I mean? Everybody knows if you do something one time and you can't repeat it, it's fake.
And where I was going to is that at the beginning of the season, obviously, even up until it wasn't really, I never really wanted to trade Randle. We had the discussion about Cat. If we had Cat as an option, yes, I would take that option. Not going to happen. The Wolves are winning this season. They're doing really well this season.
Way better than us.
Yeah, they're better than us. Look,
Yeah.
they got a good team. Anthony Edwards, you got Russell, you got Cat out there. They're doing something. They're finally winning, putting like stringing good games together as well. And like if we could get Cat, that'd be for Randall. That would be awesome. But the trades that are out there, as we know, like we've heard about the Fox and for Randall, and I understand that people would be willing to make that move. I'm not against it. I'm also not for it either. Like I'm in the middle. It is what it is.
Let's
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's start. Okay. If we want to start there, I just want to just say that I just feel bad for Randall. That's really what I want to say because the season unfolded. I think what happened is that once he acknowledged the fans, that's where it all started. Once I feel like as a player, once you acknowledge you're listening to the fans, everything unravels. That's just my opinion.
I hate to say that all stars and celebrities are right, especially when it comes to like social media, for example. And they always say, don't answer them. All they want is for you to answer the trolls. And once you do, they won.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly what happened with Randall. Randall's like, listen, man, I'm the king of this. I ran this team. I have the right to be able to say something back. And I promise you, like I've been why I'm such an apologist, I guess, and why it's kind of fair for me to be labeled that way is because I understood why he gave us a thumbs down. You know what I mean? Like we're blaming everything on him. We literally blame every single thing on him. However, from that point, like you said, Alex, he has had a steep decline. Steep, like 4 points, 2 games, like 2 games out of like a 6-game stretch.
Low single digit point, like scoring games. And then on top of that, his playmaking has gotten even worse. He's bringing the ball up and not even like looking to push the pace. Like his overall play has just gotten worse ever since he acknowledged the fans. And my thing is that, is it right for it's fanatics, right? Like we're fanatics. We focus on this team more, like especially the diehards. Focus on this team greatly and down to the T. But that doesn't mean, like, I agree. Like, that doesn't mean we just, like, I understand that you're going to get boos. I don't boo at a game. I don't think it's productive. I don't really think it does anything, but I understand why it happens. I get it. I don't think just attacking players on a day-to-day basis does anything either. But I get it because you're, once again, fanatics. Like, I'll critique their play game by game, as you and I do. But that doesn't mean I want this guy off the team. All I'm looking for this guy is to perform. Just perform. That's it.
Here's the thing, Alex. It's more than that, though, because I'm not going to say that everyone's so upset because Randall's scoring 4 points and he's getting 8 rebounds and 9 assists. I don't think that's the reason why everyone's so upset. And maybe I'm giving a little too much credit to like the fan base, but I think it's the effort, man.
No, I agree with you.
First of all, you cursed us out, right? So people are sensitive and all their feelings about that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's number one. But number two is the effort. Like we were with you when you were fighting the refs last year, even though it annoyed us, right? It's annoying that you're talking to the refs every play, but we let it go.
Every game, every play, down to the end of it.
This year, it's different because when you're complaining, you're not getting back on defense. You're also clearly each play, we don't know if you're gonna be engaged or not, and that just wasn't the case last year. Right. Even if he was pissed off. So that's the one thing I'll get back to the fans and why they. And honestly, like I know we want to talk about Fox, like that's why it's okay for Ian Begley to come out and say the Knicks are down to trade Fox. It's okay for Macri and CP to say, hey, about 5 to 7 teams are looking into. Randall, especially the Kings. Like now it's okay. 3 weeks ago, or even I know Ari from Manhattan, who we had on last episode, he was going off about players on the last year of their contract and how we shouldn't trust it and how we shouldn't pay people too early because they always come out and play and, fight for that money. And I get it. But dude, if we traded Randall last year, I would have had a protest outside Memphis.
So would I. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? Like, no, I'm not going to give up a winning season just to blow up a winning season. Nah, that makes no. Like, and to do what? It's like, all right, guys, we're on the brink of breaking our playoff drought. It's 2013. Like,
so I'm not mad at the Knicks for paying. I'm not mad at the Knicks for paying Randall, and I'm not mad for letting him play out this year for 50 games, and now it's not working out. But you want to trade him? Like, it's okay for things to just not work out for both sides with no animosity.
100%. And that's the thing. And that's why I was happy when they ran it back, because we've never seen this team run it back. Especially you would run it back when you had success with that same roster. Like, why wouldn't you do that? So it made sense to bring Noel back, Burks, everybody. It doesn't matter. But now we're at this point where
we asked them to do too much. All those players we asked to do too much last year, and they all overperformed, including D Rose, and that's why they earned their contract. I feel like that's good juju. That's good karma to have around the league. Like, if you perform for us, we will pay you. We're not going to just throw you out in the street.
Yeah. For example, that's perfectly said. And now we're at this point, right? Now we have trades. Now we have these trade rumors for Julius Randle and all the other veterans by Brian Windhorst, Ian Begley. We have CP who are saying that there's 5 to 7 teams looking for Julius Randle. We have Jonathan Macri saying that there are inklings for De'Aaron Fox and Julius Randle out there. So let's get into this, John. Let's start off with De'Aaron Fox, because I'm honestly so in the middle of this trade that I could care less if it did or did not happen. I am not like, and here's the reason why. And it's not necessarily I get needing to.
Don't get fatigued. Don't let them fatigue you, Alex.
No. Here's the thing. Here's how I look at it. When I get wanting to move Julius Randle, and I'm fine with moving Julius Randle because things are just not working out here. And that's why I'm ready. That's why I tweeted yesterday. At this point, just build it around RJ. Let's see what we got in these young guys. Let's evaluate for the rest of the season. We're not doing much this season anyway, the way everything's unfolded. You don't know if you have Noel's coming back on a day-to-day basis. He's always questionable, feels like every game. And if he's in, it feels like a logic game from the LSAT, man. If Noel plays, Robinson's out. If Robinson's in, Noel's out.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's at least though. I mean, to be fair, that is why they exist together.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But it feels like a logic game, bro. It feels like we're going back to studying this stuff. And then you have Randall. Like, I get it. And then Burks hasn't been underperforming the last couple of weeks. I get it. And Kemba Walker hasn't fit here. Evan Fournier hasn't fit here. I get it. But when it comes to Randall and Fox, and here I look at Fox, and I'm not elated as some fans are, where it's like, oh, we'll get the point guard, he solves everything. I don't think he solves much. I think he solves like a point guard issue for whatever that may be, but then it's now we have to build around Fox, because he doesn't offer, other than being an elite downhill scorer around the rim, and gives you decent to good playmaking
and pace.
But yeah, and pace, and then shooting non-existent. His defense has been declined. I feel like that can come back up. I feel like that's a product of being in Sacramento.
You're on the Kings. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like
yeah.
So like I'm not against moving Randall for Fox, but and the thing is, I think it is in there. I think it is a change of scenery that he needs for Fox, because being in Sacramento is just it's purgatory. Okay. You're not doing anything. You're not gonna go to the playoffs. It's not gonna be good. You're gonna be mid at best. So I get it. And like, I get trading for him, but for me, it just, all right, so now we got to build around him, because he's a ball dominant guard, right? And if you want to really feature RJ, you probably need somebody who could be a little bit more off ball rather than has to be on ball. And that's my hesitation with Fox. That's my concern with Fox. So that's why that trade doesn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, let's do it. It's not like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know, if it's like, oh, you're getting Shai Gilgeous, it's like, whoa, that's, you know what I mean? Then it's like, hell yeah, all in. De'Aaron Fox is another tier below, where it's like, all right, I could ride with it. Maybe he could be a good piece you could flip later down the line for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or someone else in the future, but that's thinking way too far ahead. But that's kind of where I am with the Randall Fox thing. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Okay, so it's interesting. Okay, I agree that we need a guard. We need a point guard, but I'm just not sure if De'Aaron Fox is the answer. I know he's sexy. I know he's the guy that was in our draft when we were scouting him. And as we know, Alex, we've discovered the secret that when teams are scouting players around them in their draft, 2-3 years later, if it doesn't work out the next team, they have their eye on him. And De'Aaron Fox is one of those players. So it kind of works out. But I mean, with no fact check, I have a question. Mm-hmm. Has any player that got the rookie max extension been traded before? Like this extension just started.
I think Anthony Davis. Like,
AD. Yeah, okay, AD. But that was like a LeBron, like you have to be signed so LeBron could take you type deal, right? Like for a sign and trade.
Yeah. But
Dude,
that was
he's
before.
gonna be
But no,
paying-
so Davis was in the middle of his
It was
extension.
a year before. Yeah, I know.
It was a year or two before. Yeah.
So, dude, he's making $38 million in the 2025-2026.
That's the
season.
other thing too. His contract.
That's my hesitation, dude. If it was just the Aaron Fox for Randle, and like we get Harrison Barnes or whatever to take that contract, you take Burks to make yourself happy, like whatever it is, I don't mind that. But my issue is, what happens if De'Aaron Fox stinks in 2 years? Seriously, like what happens if he's just a regular guard? Or what happens if after a year and change, or after 50 more games, we're like, this guy's not our point guard? Now what? Now we have a huge logjam at shooting guard, right? Because he's going to be our second guard. He's basically IQ, so we can't put him on the bench, right? They're going to be interchangeable. And I just don't want to get in a hole of a bad contract that we got in a trade out of desperation after we traded the guy we just signed.
That's,
you know what I mean? And
that's
just because
that's
we had
point.
a bad 50 games. And that's really where my hesitation is. And you're right, dude. If De'Aaron Fox was, I don't know, you said Shea Alexander, I'll say Lonzo Ball, like somebody like that. You know, someone who's a point guard.
Who could facilitate,
you
know, so you know, someone who's like thinking to move the rock first and then shoot later, because I think that's what this team needs. Regardless, if you keep Randle or not, if you want to feature RJ, you need somebody like that. You need someone who can play off ball, because if that's who you want to bully through, and that's how the league is today. You got to work through your wings. Like, it is what it is. Your shooting guard, your wings, those are the guys that are making it happen on the court. But I'm happy that you brought up De'Aaron Fox's contract, because that is another issue, because he's getting paid like he's the 23rd best player in this league, and he's not. He's not.
You guys are mad about Julius Randle's contract? Like, take a look at De'Aaron Fox's contract.
You will blow your, like, he's not even playing like he's the 23rd best player in this league. Randle at least is playing like he's the 45th best player. That is a legitimate fact. Okay. You want to talk like he's getting paid like Drew Holiday. What is Drew Holiday? You can argue whether he's a second or third option. If he's a third option on a team, that's what Julius Randle is on a team, a third option. And we're asking him once again to be more than that. So that's why when it comes to like De'Aaron Fox, I'm like, really though? Like, we want to take on a larger contract for a guy who's not even playing like he's the 23rd best player in this league. And then we have to deal with that. The extension just kicked in. And then it increases, as you pointed out, every single year. Sure, the cap is going to increase every single year, but he's then going to mean that he's going to be taking up over 25% of your cap. Like, what? That doesn't. If he's not producing like that, if you hate someone who's not producing at the contract, if the fans are upset at someone who they want to produce over their contract level, what are they going to say when you get somebody who's not even producing at their contract level? That's the best question. That's the best question I got.
Dude. And if he does play well, the craziest part is if he does play well, he gets like a 25% increase, right? If he gets like the NBA third team, I think that's like a 26% increase, and then it goes up from there. Like, if he does play well and we are impressed with him, like, it's going to be even worse on our salary cap. So I don't know, dude. I love the idea of having a guard. Do not get me wrong.
Same.
However, I would way rather have Jalen Brunson and deal with that contract.
Yes.
And deal with that issue.
100%. So if we're
deal Randle.
We're talking
also, Randle wants to go to Dallas, right? He loves Dallas. He's from Dallas. So, like, if we could facilitate that somehow, I mean, like with a 3-teamer, because obviously Randle for Jalen Brunson is insane. But if we can somehow,
and you got to move KP too, because unless you want KP at center down there, but that's another story.
Yeah, but he's obviously not gonna come here. We're gonna need a 13.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No way, that ain't happening.
I mean, if we can throw somehow Indiana in there, but I'm sure Carlisle will throw up at the sight of Porzingis again. So there's always like a little mismatch and weird stuff going on in the NBA with personalities and egos. You know, it's not always about the money. So I would guess that it's more likely to see Ben Simmons in Sacramento than it is to see Julius Randle in Sacramento, regardless of the rumors. But overall, what would you think if we got rid of, let's say, one of the guards in Fournier and Burks and Randle? That's how I think of them. There's one dumb player right now. One dumb, inefficient player. And and you throw Randle in there, we get some nonsense back with Fox, maybe Barnes, maybe a Holmes or something. I don't think Holmes, but that's just my
we're not getting Rashawn.
I know. Well, if we throw Mitch in there, we might. So, who knows? So that's kind of how I see that role. To be honest with you, everybody's going to be so excited, so hyped because they got Randall off. That's going to be a positive for people. We got somebody who we were all looking at in the draft, not just the Knicks.
Yeah, everyone's going to be hyped.
Positive.
Everyone's going to be hyped if we got.
I'm going to be at like a 5, bro. Look, I'm going to be at a 5.
Yeah, and I'd be right there with you. I'd be sitting like, yeah, okay, like this is cool for now. Let's see how this all plays out. Because if Fox came here once again, he doesn't play up to that contract, then we got a bigger issue. Because if he doesn't play up to that contract, that's going to be harder to move than Julius Randle's contract.
Exactly.
And
it's already non-tradable non-tradable contract. I don't understand.
And that's why he hasn't been like Sacramento says they don't want to move him. They want to move. That's a new front office, new whole thing. They got Tyrese Halliburton. They got Davion Mitchell. They got other guards, man.
I would rather, if you're gonna call Sacramento, I would say
please get Halliburton
for Halliburton. Exactly, dude.
Please get me Halliburton. Yeah, give me Halliburton but they're not gonna trade Halliburton because Halliburton's a beast. He does everything that we need.
I know, but for them, he slacks on defense. Sometimes he gets in these ruts. Like he doesn't get that much playing time because of Fox. Like they have a log jam as well.
Yeah.
So
give me Halliburton.
They're calling me. They're calling me. I'm making a switcheroo. Like I know Randall Fox, but like maybe that's gonna be too much for both sides. We're not gonna be happy. Let's go down the line. Let's talk about Halliburton. You know what I mean? That's how I would play it in the negotiation.
Yeah. And the Kings don't have that much leverage to begin with. So I don't know what if
they're blowing up. They're sellers as well. We're both sellers at the end of the day.
100%. But yeah, I agree with you. I think I like the Brunson idea more, just because
for sure.
Yeah, I like the Brunson idea more once again because he fits what we need. All right,
let's stick with Brunson. Okay, so we have what we said last week, and you reiterated this whole player on his last year of his contract fighting for a deal, how well he plays. Okay, so that's where Brunson is.
Yeah,
and then we're going to trade for him, and then we're going to have to pay him ourselves. And the second question I have for you there is not, that one wasn't really a question, but I want to know your thoughts on that. And the second question is he our starter? Because I know for the first 30 games, he was our bench player, and now he's all of a sudden elevated in the last 20 games to the Knicks starter. So how do you feel about his position on this team?
So I've been doing a little bit more watching of Brunson and watching more film on him. I actually like the way he plays. Yes, it's a contract year. I would still have him as a starter because I keep coming back in my head. What do we actually need out of this point guard position if we're trying to feature our wings, right? You don't need someone who's going to have to be that catalyst of a player that can get you 20 on a nightly basis. And the way Brunson's been playing, though, he can get up there, which if he can give you that on a night-to-night basis, that's fantastic. I find Brunson right now to be in this zone of like Fred VanVleet because
wow, that's a compliment for Brunson.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll necessarily reach. I don't believe that he'll reach the Fred VanVleet level, but I put him in this bubble because older player coming in now, starting to get into his groove. There's like that hesitation where it's like, is this actually real? Like we had with Fred VanVleet, but I think it is also once again real with Jalen Brunson because yes, anyone could look good next to Luka Doncic, sure. Because Luka's going to demand all that attention. You're going to have your one-on-ones. You're not going to be demanding double teams like Luka, even triple teams for that matter. But the way you see how he plays, just the quickness in his ability to keep moving the rock or just shoot off ball, that is something very intriguing. Like Fred VanVleet, which is why it works with Fred, which is why Fred VanVleet was also in consideration because, hey, you don't need this guy to touch the ball all the time. That's why Pascal Siakam can work. That's why Fred VanVleet can work. That's why Gary Trent Jr. can work. That's why everybody can work on that team because it's like, oh, guys, we don't need to touch the ball. Like, yes, Fred VanVleet is our point guard, but he doesn't need it all the time. And that's why I want, and that's why I like in Brunson the more I think about it. Someone who can actually shoot, unlike Fox. The contract, if you do trade Julius Randle, then it doesn't matter if you pay him because if you move Julius Randle and take his money off the books, he slides in right there and you still are once again back in that same spot. It becomes a net neutral where you can then still pay Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett if Cam Reddish works out. I'm just putting it in there because they trade for him, but you still have that capability of doing it. That's if you move Julius Randle, which is looking like the possibility at this point.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, the reason why I think a trade is definitely looming and we're not just sitting here talking nonsense is because, as you just mentioned, they tried to slip it in there, but because we traded for Cam Reddish and he's on a contract year. Like we didn't trade Kevin Knox to get money off the books. Okay. Him and Cam Reddish make the same amount of money and they're both contracts, and we gave up a pick. So obviously there is something there. When you say, oh, okay, but why wouldn't Tibbs play him? He's a crazy old man. He doesn't let people into his rotation. If you just sit down for 3 seconds and listen to a Tibbs press conference, he'll tell you. He'll explain to you exactly why Cam Reddish is not playing. And what he said was, we traded a man that's not in our rotation for another man that wasn't in the rotation. How am I supposed to take him and put him into the rotation? Like, who do I take out? And he made such a good point. I mean, that's what we were saying. And that's why there's a logjam at shooting guard. But the fact that they got him in and they know that there's a jam at shooting guard, and then the rumors just came out that we just mentioned from Mr. Windhorst, right? On his podcast, he said Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, and Alec Burks, all on chopping block. And that's exactly where Cam Reddish could play.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that him coming in the fourth quarter and doing a step back three with a guy on him, like that's him just being a dummy, and it's not going to help anything. And he has a right to do that because he doesn't miss in pregame, so it's okay with me personally.
It's also garbage time. Like, what do we do? Like, what? Yeah. It's garbage time. But and the other thing means the Knicks do care, and they want him in the rotation, and they're going to open up a spot for him there. And you know what makes it interesting is that, and just getting back to Brunson, because this is where I think, like, if you move guys for Brunson or something like that, it starts to open up spots.
Exactly.
Mavericks have a cap issue. They have a serious cap issue.
They have a lot of issues. Everyone's injured, and they have a cap issue, and they don't win games. Like,
and most of their roster's returning next season. Regardless, they're going to be in the luxury cap. Are they going to pay again and like just try to figure it out after the season, or are they going to cut their losses and try to trade somebody? Because trying to bring everybody back, paying as a luxury team when you're not even really a luxury team. You're not the Golden State Warriors. You're not even the Raptors who are winning with Kawhi Leonard. You're not in that situation to say, we got a championship winner right here. If anyone says the Mavericks are a championship winning team, you're out of your mind. But
I'm so happy you said that. I'm so happy you said that, Alex. I'm sorry to cut you off because there's a couple teams in the NBA that are just like the Mavericks.
The Nuggets are another one.
I'm about to say the Nuggets, the Clippers, right? Yeah. There's a lot of teams that are right there, just like you said, who are about to be in the luxury tax, who are not a luxurious team. They stink, and they're almost in a mini rebuild. And that's where I want the Knicks to poach from. Even Indiana, right? Like Karis LeVert, or, if we can grab Holiday somehow for a couple picks, because they need to get money off their books, and we still have space. Right? We always joke around, Knicks traded for cap space. Ha ha ha, where's Kevin Durant? This is why you have cap space, right? For 2 years down the line, when teams are now in their luxury tax, like Jeremy Grant for the Pistons, they want to get rid of him. Like all these teams that just need to get rid of players to soften up their books. And on the back end, we know, like you mentioned 1,000 times over the last maybe 3-4 episodes, the cap is going to increase. So if the Knicks, if you know that, and the Knicks know that, and we have right now the luxury to kind of maneuver some money for other teams, I really, really expect deals on the quote unquote smaller scale like that than the De'Aaron Fox trade. Because, dude, I know I keep going back to it, but to put $40 million on your books until I don't know, like until the Jets are almost in the playoffs, like 2026, bro. Like, come on. Like,
yeah, no, like, I'm good. I'm good on that. And like
Zach Wilson's going to be on his second contract by the time De'Aaron Fox we're still paying him. Like, that's how nuts that is.
And then is that the deal that Leon Rose really wants to hitch his wagon to? Because that's then the trade. Like
100%.
That's the trade that he has
Randle. You signed Randle, you extended him, and then you traded him for someone who's making $40 million until basically your contract runs out, Leon. So yeah, you're damn right. This is your guy, and you're gonna live and die with De'Aaron Fox.
Is that the guy you want to hitch your wagon with? I don't think De'Aaron Fox is the guy that the Knicks necessarily want to hitch their wagon with. That's why the more I think about it, that's why I'm not as hyped as other fans who are like, "Oh yeah, let's go get De'Aaron Fox." It's like, okay, like if you did, I'm not going to be upset if he plays up to that value. But if he's playing like he is right now, or even if he was playing like his first 3 seasons, that's not even close to what his value is. It's still not. No. So because he's not playing like he's not playing like he's in the top 20, top 25, I should say, of NBA players. But speaking of Leon Rose, There's been another thing that's been going around the Twitterverse, and shout out to Michael K for saying that, for starting this pod again once again rolling.
It's on the radio today.
Thank you.
Right,
So, John, tell me your feelings about this, and I want you to start it off. Do you think Leon Rose needs to address the fans right now? Do you think he needs to address the fans at all? How about that?
It's interesting, man, because we just talked about how that's what trolls want. That's what fans want from every fan base, for every celebrity, whether it's music or sports. Like, you just want the guy or the girl to show you attention, to give you something back, and then you won. You trolled them, they answered you, you're in their head, and then you won. So therefore, I don't want Leon Rose to address the fans right now. However, Alex, we know that if we make a trade, especially a big one, we're going to have a press conference,
100%.
Everyone's going to be there, and it's not going to be so lighthearted like when Kemba Walker was chilling there. And, they're asking Tibbs, how much is Kemba going to play? Oh, every night. Like, we saw that lasted like 6 games. So it's not going to be that lighthearted anymore. We're right in the middle in the season. And we know that, honestly, Tibbs doesn't take any crap during the season. He takes this stuff very seriously. He's very, takes it so seriously that he's so stingent with the rotation. He doesn't do that out of spite. He doesn't do that because he's quote unquote old. He does that because he's watching every single game, and he's watching the tape, and he's looking at the plus minus, and he's like, dude, this has to happen like this. For example, like Fournier just started playing in the fourth quarter like 2 games ago. He's like just switched that back up. But anyway, sticking back to the topic with Leon Rose, I don't want him addressing the fans right now. First of all, we can't even trade Randle till February 3rd. Like, what are you going to say? However, if we do make a trade, you need to come in here and act like the mob boss that for some reason the whole NBA and the Knicks paint you as, right? This like Don. You have to act like that. You have to come. If you make a trade, especially if it's for Randle, and like you said, Alex, this is your guy. You re-signed Randle. So if you trade him, the superstar that we got, I don't care. He is the superstar, like for the Knicks. I'm sorry if that like hurts people's feelings. And you trade him for another guy, especially if he's going to be making rookie max extension money. Like you damn well better address the fans, and you better address the relationship between the fans and the players going forward, and the fans and the coach going forward. Because this whole let's fire Tibbs every night is getting so damn old, and it just makes me, as soon as you come out saying we should fire Tibbs, I automatically, like, I really goes down a notch for me in your basketball IQ. And I'm sorry to say, because he obviously knows basketball. Like, if you have critiques about his play, his rotation, it's just so dumbfounded. Like, shout out to the Spaces again. Someone came out, he's like, Tibbs doesn't play his rookies. You ever heard of Emmanuel Quickly? He was a rookie last year, and now
I really hate that argument. I really hate that argument. Who's Grimes? Who's Grimes? Who's Quickly? Who's Obi? Like, we saw Deuce get starts over freaking Kemba Walker. I have that kid. That kid is like, someone told me that Tibbs would never play Deuce, and I'm like, are you kidding? Like, Tibbs would love to play Deuce. The kid, he clamored for this kid. He wanted the team to draft him. So how is he not going to play him? Where do you want him to fit in? We have a plethora of guards that are going to go before him, which is another reason why you start moving these guys, so you can get Deuce in there, put him with the second unit, and then see what happens. But
imagine going home, imagine going back to the locker room and in practice and having to look Kemba Walker right in the eye and say, yeah, we think Trey McBride does better at point guard than you. Sorry, man. Like, that's a tough task, dude. Kemba Walker's a real player.
Even to Emmanuel Quickly, you're like, hey, we're gonna put. It's like, word. Like, how's that gonna like, that's gonna happen? No, it's not gonna happen. So, but I hear you on that point. I agree with you. If you're trading, like, if you're making that big of a trade, then you got to address, and you got to say, hey, this is who we're moving forward with, X, Y, and Z, and then go that way, because that is the move you've been waiting for, and now we can have a clear vision of what you're trying to do. But the clamoring of like fans, right? Like, Leon Rose needs to address the fans right now, where there's not even a trade, nothing's going on. No, please do not address the fans. Do not address anybody. If you want to do like a preseason and postseason, like NFL GMs do, and just give your generic talk, fine, go ahead. That way
they don't do that. They don't do that, man. The only people that does that, and that's why Michael K came out and said this is because Brian Cashman, right in the middle of the season, if things are coming falling apart and trade deadline season's coming out,
he's the only one that does it in the middle
out.
of He's the only one that does it in the middle of the season.
Exactly.
No NFL
Alex,
GM does that. No hockey GM does that.
What happened? What happened when Dolan came out and did that on the radio on the Michael K show? Like, it's like how ironic. When he came out and did that, he tried to say, everyone calm down. Like, just take it easy. We're looking forward to next offseason. Don't worry. We have all this money. And, like, we're hearing good things from people's agents. That's all he said. He literally came out. The owner of the Knicks came out and just tried to say, everyone calm down. We're good. We'll take care of you. Just like steadfast. He got torn apart. Right? He had the binder with the name on it. And he had all this stuff. And he got torn apart. So, honestly, it's almost like a catch-22. And people are baiting the Knicks. Like they want Leon Rose to come out and be the only GM in the NBA to say something about his team. And then
he wouldn't, because we saw that Schlink for the GM for the Atlanta Hawks. He came out midseason, went on the public radio, and then everything blew up. And that's why you can get then when you're like, oh, the Knicks flees the Hawks. It's like, why do you think they were able to do that? The GM just went on public radio and said, hey, I don't think I should not have brought everybody back. And you're like, oh, that's how you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me get this guy. And it's like, well, can we get Quinn Grimes? We're like, bro, you're down bad. You just say you don't want to bring everybody back. You're going to take Kevin Knox. You're going to take this protected Charles first-round pick, and you're going to be Cam Reddish and Solomon Hill. All right? And that's how that works. So why do you want your GM to like show his cards? Yeah. And why do you want your GM to show their hand and how they're trying to build a team? No business ever shows their hand. So like, let's just stop with this. What are they going to do? You want him to come out just give you the generic talk anyway? So because he's not going to show his hands. It's like, yeah, we want a competitive product. We're still working at it. We're going to work and figure it out. Blah blah blah. X, Y, and Z. We believe in our guys. And then what?
Yeah.
And then you can go back home, go be sitting in your chair or on your couch, wherever, be angry that he didn't say what I wanted to hear. It's like, well, you asked for him to speak. Yeah, but I wanted him to say what I wanted to hear. It's like, that's not how that's going to work. So let's stop.
Leonard's going to come out and say, I hate Randle. I can't believe he was minus 34 the other day. Like, he's not going to do it.
He's not going to do that. So like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, just relax. Go home, take a chill pill, pop a beer, sit down on the couch, relax, go watch some football. Don't worry. Your GM is doing a good job. You're happy how they're drafting. They made smart decisions on how they should approach free agency. It hasn't worked out, but it's been smart decisions. Okay. It's not anything horrendous where we're like, oh, let's give Evan Fournier like a $30 million deal. All right. It's not that type of Knicks. No, I'm talking about like annually. It's not a $30 million deal annually. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, we're not getting anything like that. So let's be happy that our GMs are not doing anything that wild. But John, I think we should get into our upcoming slate, man. We got a couple games, and how fitting is it that we have this De'Aaron Fox and Julius Randle rumor, and we got the Sacramento Kings for this week, man. So let's talk about this week, man. How are you feeling about the Knicks for this upcoming slate of games?
So we got tomorrow, Monday. If you listen to this today, we got the Kings. I'll be there. I'm going to the pregame with Camby and Houston, so that'll be fun.
Let's go.
And then I'll probably be at the Kings game. It's a must-win. I mean, honestly,
everything's a must-win. Everything's a must-win.
No, like the Heat wasn't a must-win. The Bucks wasn't a must-win.
Okay,
even the Cavs, for all intents and purposes, especially on this season, like they're really good. This week, this game is a must-win, especially looking forward. I'll be at the Memphis game. We're going to lose to Memphis. Okay, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., like we're going to lose to Memphis. Okay, or it's going to be a very competitive game. And he just made the All-Star team. Like, things are fantastic in Memphis right now. We have to win this game. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Honestly, if we lose this game, especially the fact that Randle, we could officially trade him on the day that we could trade him to Memphis, and we lose to Memphis, we're going to be on a 5-game losing streak. Dude, the whole thing is going to blow up in our faces, like literally right after the Memphis game. And then we have the Lakers game coming up right after that in LA. We're going to have nobody for that game. It's going to be Melo versus like the skeletons of this team because everyone's going to be traded. So yeah. I for everybody's sake, for my personal health, for the Knicks' sake, for
look, guys,
everybody.
This podcast can't pay the medical bills for John if he goes to the hospital because the Knicks are causing that much stress.
Dude, I need I need to beat the Kings on Monday tonight. I have to. Like, there's really there's no room for error here. We have to beat the Kings. If we lose to the Kings, Alex, blow the whole thing up. We're out of the play-in. Like, we're at this point, like, we're not even close to the play-in. Everyone's making fun of the Wizards. The Wizards look like the 98 Bulls compared to the Knicks right now. So,
oh man, yeah. Look, I agree with you. We got to beat the Kings. The Kings are not a good team. They're down bad like us. All right. They're looking to sell everybody.
Nobody's down bad like us, man.
they're looking to sell people. We're looking to sell people. I mean, the good news is that we have a better record than San Antonio, but that doesn't really say much. We're 23-27. They're 18-33. They're on a 6-game losing streak, so let's make it 7 when they come to Madison Square Garden. But we got to win this game, man. We got to win some games. We got to get this team happy. We got to get
a game.
Yeah. Look, man, we're going to win some games moving throughout the season, but we got to beat the Kings because we beat the Grizzlies earlier this season too.
Yeah.
We did. So, they're coming back. They're coming back with a vengeance. Like we're going to
in Memphis too.
Yeah, they're coming back. They're coming back and they want to beat us. So, and they're going to beat us. They're rolling. They're rolling. That team is rolling. That's going to be a tough one. Sure, we could beat them, but I have Memphis.
We did a good fight versus we did fight well against the Bucks.
We did, but and the good thing is prime time. So our guys like to get up for prime time.
Do we though? The Heat game was in prime
for the
time.
most part. Heat game. We were just that game. I don't know what happened that game. But we were on it. We against the Bucks. We showed up for that game for most of the game.
Back-to-back primetime games and another one the week after. They really had high hopes for the Knicks, and I think that's a little bit why we're crashing down so hard as a team, as a fan base. Because even the national media, I mean, we have 3
primetime. We have to face the Lakers on primetime. We're on ABC on Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
at the Crypto.com Center.
At the Crip Walk. I wonder if LeBron Crip walks to the arena.
Yeah, they should call it the Crip. That's actually a sick name. I have like a 3 to 6% chance of me going to that game. I want to go visit my brother. He already has tickets to the game though, so I'm kind of out of luck. But if I could somehow manage to get decent seats, I'll fly out for like a couple of days.
There you
see
go.
My brother, see the niece, and see the Lakers, see Melo and
get some nice weather.
I mean, anything's better than this. it was like -8.
You talking about the Knicks or you talking about the weather?
Both. Both. They're both -8.
But yeah, man, look, we also got 10 more games on prime time after these two. There were high hopes for the Knicks. High hopes. But things unraveled, man. If you told me after the way we started 5-1 that this is how the season was going to turn out, I would say you're lying to me. No way. No way that the we here Knicks with that much energy is going to come down to we gone. So, look, I think honestly against the Lakers, we have a really good chance to beat the Lakers too. If this team isn't blown up, that team is look.
Listen, man,
I love how you
100% going to play.
I love how you
LeBron's
text
definitely
us
going to play.
because before we got to watch the Knicks play the Bucks, especially out here, since I couldn't tune into MSG, had to watch on ESPN. I had to watch Russell Westbrook against the Lakers against the Charlotte Hornets, and Russell Westbrook take the final shot and brick it.
I was so mad that nobody messaged me.
I'm sorry about that. I know I should. I was out for my mother-in-law's birthday, so when I got back, we were all watching the game. I was like, oh, there we go. There's Russ bricking a shot for game winner. As you see Melo on the opposite side waiting to take the shot, I'm like, that makes more sense for Melo to take the last shot from 3, not the guy who's a brick machine. But hey, those are the decision makings of Russell Westbrook. It is what it is.
We have the same exact story because I was out for a birthday. I came home. I was able to watch the rest of the Knicks game, and then like they showed the highlights for Lakers. Like, oh yeah, this happened earlier, and they're showing the game and come down to the wire. And then Russell Westbrook is taking the edge 3 to like. I like verbally laughed, like I actual laughed out loud by myself. Nobody in my house. I started laughing. Like I can't believe that was the play. But also at the same time, 2 games ago, our play was to give Randle backwards 360 shot from half court with 1.7 seconds left. So who the
Makes
hell
no
am
sense.
I to say anything
But the
about,
thing is,
shots?
Here's the difference, though. We've seen one story unfold every single time like that, which is Russell Westbrook taking a game-winning 3 at the end, and he's probably hit like out of his entire career 2, 3.
I don't even want to give a number. But he might be the most least clutch player in the NBA.
Probably.
It has to be.
From three, I'll give it from 3. I'm going to stick with 3. From 3, I'm not. I'm just going to say from 3 because I don't know because he's good at getting downhill. But from 3, you want this guy? You want this guy? You want this guy take? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like we've seen this play. We've seen this play over and over and over again. All I saw
was Patrick Ewing, Alex. You shoot that shot.
We've seen this play so many times, and then you leave it to Russell Westbrook to hit the game-winning 3. Terrible. And Melo's out there like you see Melo like, where?
Yeah, like you gave him the ball to shoot. Like what told you guys that was a good idea?
The thing is, he pulled it back out and then tried to step into a 3. I was like, wow, this guy really thinks he's that dude. You ain't that dude, bro. You ain't that dude. Oh. That's what I'm gonna say this because when I said I think Chauncey Billups is better than Russell Westbrook as a point guard, I had someone out here be like, "Have you seen his stats?" I'm like, "You have not watched this man play." I was
That's
like,
"That's a hot take."
Big Shot Bob apparently
is better than Russell Westbrook.
Apparently,
Oh my God. That's actually amazing.
Someone attacked me saying, "Hey, you're creating a narrative for Chauncey Billups?" I was like, "This dude, I don't know, won a championship, 8-time NBA All-Star, like what?" Russell Westbrook has done what? Giving you a first-round exit by himself? Billups is taking you to the promised land.
Dude, I love Big Shot Bob. So I think Big Shot Bob is one of like the top 20 point guards of all time.
Mr. Big Shot. I don't know how you look at and the thing is, I'm not gonna get to it because it's just so infuriating to think of it. It was just I just could not believe someone was trying to argue Russell Westbrook should be in the top 5 point guards ever to play this game. I was like, in what world are we doing this? I was like, and then someone had to say, have you looked at his stats? Look at the stats that he does. I was like,
have you watched the basketball game?
I was like, have you turned on a game at all? Have you turned on a game at all and see how this man's played throughout his entire career? And I don't even hate Russell Westbrook. I hate the stands of Russell Westbrook because they hype this man up to be the greatest thing possible. But
all right, hold on. But before we end this pod, I got 2 questions for you. One, how do you see this week going? I know we talked about it, but I got the Kings winning. And I'm going to take a Memphis win just because I'm going to be there. But obviously, I can't win a game I go to this year. So obviously, we're going to lose that one. And maybe even the Kings because I'll be there. But I'm going to go 2-0 this week. What do you got?
Or you're not including the Lakers? You're not going to include the Lakers for this one? Because that's like the week.
If I'm going to include the Lakers, I'm going to go 2-1 and take that Memphis loss.
Same. And that's what I'm going to do too. And that's what I'm doing too. Yeah.
Fine,
that's what I'm doing too.
All right. I was going to try to take it slow. So if we lost that, I'd be like, all right, it's a must win. All right, I'll go 2-1. I'll take the.
We're going full throttle here, baby. Full throttle.
That's fair. But the second question, and it kind of triggered when we were talking about watching the games. One of my really good friends is a diehard Nets fan. Lives in Brooklyn. Was a diehard New Jersey Nets fan as well. Has a Kerry Kittles jersey. The whole thing, right?
Okay.
So my question is, and he was really adamant about it. He hates James Harden right now. He hated him last year. He's like, you didn't watch the games as well, as intently as I did. I know he had the numbers. This year, he's even worse now on the court and on the numbers. He wants to get rid of James Harden more than anything on the earth. Let me just ask you, do you see Harden getting traded? Where do you see him going? Do you still think Harden has it, even though they changed the rule? Because we did see how Trae Young and Harden have been affected, post the 3-point shooting rule. So really quick, I know you watch all these NBA games. You have the NBA acumen. So do you see Harden getting traded? Where do you see him going? Do you still think he has any left in the tank?
I think he does have something left in the tank. I think he does get traded, but not until this offseason. And I think he's going to Philly.
Okay.
I think he's going to Philly. I think he's going to team up again with Daryl Morey. And to your point, and here's the thing. The Harden's game, this is where, because he needs to, it's going to sound insulting, but he needs to trim down and get back to what he was when he first played for the Rockets, where he actually where he was playing legitimate basketball, not this foul hunting nonsense that he started to do later on in his career. If he gets back to that guy, there's something left in that tank. But if he's going to play like he did when it was, the latter half foul hunting, you can call it a wrap for that career, because this is where the league, and I think it's a year for someone to adjust when you've been doing that for so long, and then it's just such a drastic change. I still think there's something left in the tank, but I also don't think it's going to work out in Brooklyn, because if you have to rely on Kevin Durant's health, which is now up in question, you got Kyrie Irving, who's a part-time basketball player, which is I can't believe we're saying this out loud. Part-time basketball player. I don't know. I don't
playing full-time. Watch.
I don't know how you can want to stay on that type of team where you're constantly not knowing who's going to be there, and then the rest of your supporting cast is just, for the most part, traffic cones. Like it's like pickup. It's like, yo, bro, don't leave. We need 5. We need you for 5-on-5. That's how it feels like when you're watching the Nets.
You know what's so funny? I have like a similar I guess like storyline take for Harden. He's just one of those guys, once you're playing pickup ball, that if he has a good team, he's gonna try mad hard. He's gonna talk trash. He's gonna play really well. But if he has like a bunch of scrubs on his team, he's just gonna like play whatever, do his thing, kind of be like not attached. And then he almost wants them to lose so that he could just like get the next squad up. They're gonna call him in, and he's just gonna play with better players, right? I feel like that's been his whole thing, ever since he left OKC, right? Like, he's in Houston by himself. He does whatever he wants. He has a superstar. Once, his superstar leaves, he's like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to play. Send me to the next guy. Send me to the next team. Ends up with Brooklyn. Has the superstars. Plays well. As soon as they get off the court, he's like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Send me to the next place. Send me to Philly. They have an MVP and Embiid. You know what I'm saying? He's just like that kid, at the 5-on-5s when you play pickup ball, who, if he doesn't have the best team, he's just like kind of going through the motions. If he doesn't have the best team, he's playing like this game means, is this
100%. 100%. It would just be funny to think of him and Embiid on the same team. That
kill it.
Oh, it's funny. I'm just thinking like off-court reasons wise. Just off.
Oh yeah.
I'm just thinking off-court reasons. That has to. I feel like they'd be together everywhere in Philadelphia going out.
That would be funny. It would be good. It also would be crazy for Philly to do that. But at the same time, you can have. I know we're a little off the rails in the Knicks,
and that team would fit, and that team would fit him. Like, in all honesty,
the Harden part. But
Harden.
Ben Simmons, and Kyrie as both part-time players. That's really tough. I cannot see the Nets making that.
No, Harden on the Sixers. He has the shooters. He's got the big. That's how they tried to do it the first time in Houston. It didn't work. That right there is the thing to do it for Harden. In my opinion, that's like the team that he's needed all along. It wasn't another guard like CP or Westbrook next to him. He just needed a good big that has good fundamentals inside and can shoot a little bit from the outside. But hey, man, I love our tangents at the end of the pod, even though these are Knicks pods. We love basketball. I mean,
your NBA acumen, bro.
Look, man, we both watch a lot of basketball. We both got history on the game. We both love watching the game. That's all we do is just watch basketball.
Am I watching basketball, bro? That's all I got left. NFL's only 3 games left. 2 already gone. By the time this pod's only 1 game left, and it's in 2 weeks. I mean, this is all we got left, man.
After football, I'm going to come back and ask you who's your league pass team for the rest of the season. I'm not going to ask you that right now because I'm going to give you some time. Because
it's easy right now. It's easy right now.
Who is it?
It's Memphis.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Memphis has been unbelievable. I can't stop watching Memphis, dude. I love Jared Jackson Jr. Shout out to Chip. I had him as a defensive player of the year before the year even started.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Killing it.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. I'd go with I need to think. I haven't really. It's a tough one to think, man.
I think the Heat are up there too, man. I can't stop watching the Heat.
I can't do that, man. Just deep roots with the Heat. I can't do that.
I know, but I can't. They're really good, man. They're really good. Their pace, Bam Adebayo, and Kyle Lowry's been out for personal reasons, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen when he comes back, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just throw on some games just to watch some of the young guys like Cade Cunningham. Cavs are a good team to watch. They're a fun team to watch.
Detroit was so fun in the first half.
Yes.
Like the first 20 games, I could not stop watching Detroit. Isaiah Stewart. Ever since Isaiah Stewart fight, I feel like he's like been shunned from the league. Like I feel like I
do like watching Phoenix. I do enjoy watching Phoenix.
Of course. Phoenix won the championship.
Phoenix is like the true
January 30th, 11:50 a.m. Phoenix Suns, NBA champions. It's done. Oh, dude, it is done. I forgot. I didn't even want to mention them because they're obviously the league pass team. They're the best team in the league. They have a coup going on with their ownership that we all forgot about. Right? Whole team.
How amazing is that? The team just
winning.
That's what happens.
And they're all together. They're all together as one squad. They all hate their ownership, and they all are pissed off that they lost last year in the finals. NCP was injured. So
and don't forget,
everything has to come back this year.
And I won't forget the people who said I was crazy for wanting Chris Paul on the Knicks. I will not forget you.
They're all idiots.
I will not forget you. But that's a good place to end, John. Good place to end. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another Knicks episode of the Knicks, Jets, Etc. podcast. You know what to do. Please make sure to subscribe to this podcast on any audio platform. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. Also, if you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us a 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave us a comment. That helps us out oh so greatly. Also, we're on YouTube right now, so please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Knicks, Jets, Etc. And make sure to hit the like button when you watch a video. And also make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when new episodes drop. And while you're there, we got another podcast called Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, they go down the NFL slate. They're going through championship. They gave out their takes for championship weekend. If you need to get your bets in, make sure to go over there and go listen to what these guys have to say.
Easy.
And
weekend.
then we got NBA stuff coming up. So don't worry, guys. We're not going to leave you out there hanging. But make sure to also follow us on all social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. We are also there. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another Knicks episode of the Knicks, Jets, Etc. podcast. We'll catch you later this week. We out.
Hold on. Congrats to the Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers on reaching the Super Bowl. What do you got? Before we get out of here, what do you got?
Chiefs and Rams, baby. Chiefs and Rams.
Oh, that's such a Joe pick. We out. Let's go, Knicks.